right before the election.
And Jessica, this everything about January 6th or everything about all the legal conundrums that Trump finds himself in hasn't dented his support with Republicans. And so a lot of the media on the left were saying, oh, this is it. This is going to be the one. But do you think it's going to be the thing that turns Republicans against voting for him?
No, I don't think so. And it has never polled as such. There are people who are persuaded by the argument that there is one party that cares about protecting democracy, and there's another party that will undermine democracy if it suits them. And J.D. Vance made that clear on the debate stage when he wouldn't answer Tim Walz's question.
Who's for voter ID?
That's, well,
I'm just curious. Because
right, that's not, there is no vote.
Voting integrity.
So this is a distraction from talking about.
No,
what's
you
in
said
your,
threat to democracy.
Well, so there is no voter fraud. That's the thing.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, because there aren't cases of it. It gets investigated, and when there is, it's Republicans. Okay. The narrative is that Democrats are obsessed with January 6th. But the reality is that Donald Trump is the one who's obsessed with 2020. Even today, he was on stage in Michigan saying, I won, and I won by an even bigger margin than 2016. Maybe he should be quiet about it, but he can't stop himself, which puts it into the national discourse.
Yeah, because we all know what happened. Everybody knows what happened, unless you've been sleeping under a rock. No matter how much they try to hide and cover it up, but we know what took place.
Of course. There is new information in this filing, 165 pages. There has to be something new. We know for sure now that Donald Trump knew he lost, even though Jesse says he didn't know. And we know because he told his kids on Marine One, even it doesn't matter if you won or lost, you have to fight like hell. We knew he didn't care if Mike Pence lived or died. Now we know that he said, so what? And that there were 71 threats against Mike Pence. So bad that Mark Short had to go to the...
That's why you need cross-examination. No. It's not true unless it's tested.
Mark Short went to the Secret Service to say that he was scared for his life. You have anecdotes.
But all those things are not... No, I knew all that.
Yeah. Well.
You knew that he said, so what? And you knew that you knew
it's
about
within the spirit of everything that has been written and said about this before.
Did you know about Ronna McDaniel going to the election official in Michigan who said that's effing nuts? What he's asking us to do? It is in keeping
with everything else I know about it and everything else that she said. Jesse, go ahead.
Like them beautiful patriots say around the world, my brothers and sisters, you just can't make this up. 30 days out, man, you know? Prayers for October, man. Prayers to you guys and your family. I'm wishing the best in all you guys' life, man. We don't know what to expect next, man. Prayers for Trump. Boy. Election interference, biased, fake news, the mainstream media, the enemy of the people, the corrupt media, the corrupt scam matrix that we live in. People clapping for puppets. DEI didn't earn it. And seeing the last interviews her in the public, rallies, word salads, repeating the same thing. Drunk entire inventory. DEI, drunk entire inventory. Didn't earn it, unqualified, not qualified. After everything we've seen, man. And old crying Jack Smith old crying Jack Smith is back, huh? As you've seen, they've tried everything with President Trump. They don't want him here. I hate to tell you guys this. I'm just being real. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. But they don't want him here. They don't want him alive. Prayers for Trump, for real. He's coming back to Butler. And in attendance is Elon Musk. And I tell y'all, prayers for the Trump campaign. Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, they got her on on the list. I mean, it's crazy, man. RFK Jr. They're exposing the corrupt agenda, man. It's corrupt. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. We're wishing the best in everybody's life, man. One love to the human race, baby. October, man. An October surprise. And I believe, as you know, October just started, there's something big. Something big may take place in October, man. Prayers for October. As you can see what's going on with the hurricanes. People's lives devastated. Animals have drowned. People, that the count is still rising right now. People are dead. And yesterday they asked Trump, they say, what about votes? He says, people are missing. People have died. We don't need to be focused on votes right now. But you see how the Biden administration is going about things. The Biden-Harris administration.
Donald Trump hitting back after the judge in his election interference case dropped an October surprise, unsealing a key filing from special counsel Jack Smith's January 6 case. It's a hefty document coming in at 165 pages, laying out Smith's case and alleged evidence he'll use in an eventual trial against the former president. Trump reacting on Truth Social by calling it, quote, complete and total election interference. I did nothing wrong. They did. Andy McCarthy calling out the timing when I asked him about it earlier.
Good job, Dana. The point of this was to try to get this information, which has been hashed out again and again before the American people. None of this is new, but the idea was to get the evidence out in as spectacular a way as possible. The point of releasing this now can only be to affect the election. There's no legal need for it.
Some in the media, though, they see an opportunity. This might have been the October surprise they were hoping for, hoping that Jack Smith's filing will make Republicans rethink their support for the former president. Take a look.
Charlie, for the, handful of voters who are maybe former Nikki Haley supporters or just Republicans who need to be reminded once more why they should not be voting for Donald Trump, do you think it would be effective for Vice President Harris to talk about this in whatever way legally she is allowed to on the campaign trail?
Greg, I know that a lot of people say there were bombshells in here. I mean, I read it and I felt like I'd heard and seen all of this before.
They're trying to revive the corpse of January 6th. I have to say, though, this is an improvement over 2020 because in this case, this election interference is done right in front of you. From a combination of lawfare and the media embrace. You got to go back to February 4th, 2021, when Time magazine published an article boasting of the conspiracy of business titans and left-wing activists to oppose what they called Trump's assault on democracy. They described it as a vast shadow effort, an organized collection of operatives that changed voting systems and laws, secured hundreds of millions of dollars in public and private funding. They recruited, armies of poll workers, got millions to vote by mail. Then they went after disinformation. They pressured social media companies. They called that election protection. So we, Republicans, independents, libertarians, we're suspicious when we're told that our side or the person we support is an existential risk. We were told that everything was on the table, that in fact, if you didn't cheat, that would be immoral. So what they did was they suppressed Hunter's laptop, which ushered in Joe's ill-gotten victory. So the suspicion of a rigged election is more than justified because you told us that. You told us what you were going to do. So I think that's an important context when you approach a January 6th. It wasn't an attempt to overthrow the government. It was like, we're just reacting to what you guys said.
Judge Andy McCarthy explained today that there's no written rule that you don't do this before 30 days, but it was kind of an unwritten rule. But all these norms have been broken.
Yeah, well, there's no question that the Department of Justice has had regulations over the years that say whenever there is an election on a state or national level, you do not release, number one, an investigation, an indictment, anything that may impact the election. And I always thought that it was 90 days. And, but it's clear here that what the judge did, Judge Chutkan, with her briefing and her motions calendar, she made it so that Jack Smith would be able to submit his papers on this date. And the former president, should have his answers by October 17th. Now, I just heard that was changed about an hour ago until after the election. But at least if they had gotten their response in by the president's team, you could have had somewhat of a balanced review of this. This is definitely election interference, and it's an attempt, as the press made clear, to try to remind voters you shouldn't vote for this guy because of all these things he did. There's nothing new in this. It's the same old stuff over and over again, where Hunter Biden got the benefit of every doubt and every calendar and every schedule and every statute of limitations. They're doing whatever they can to hurt Donald Trump. And what's amazing is, do you recall the sentencing for Donald Trump in New York City by Judge Ergeron was delayed because he didn't want to impact the election, which is kind of amazing because he's about as biased, I thought, as you could get. But this Judge Chutkan is even worse. She's like, let's let it all hang out right before the election.
And Jessica, this everything about January 6th, or everything about all the legal conundrums that Trump finds himself in, hasn't dented his support with Republicans. And so a lot of the media on the left were saying, oh, this is it. This is going to be the one. But do you think it's going to be the thing that turns Republicans against voting for him?
No, I don't think so. And it has never polled as such. There are people who are persuaded by the argument that there is one party that cares about protecting democracy, and there's another party that will undermine democracy if it suits them. And J.D. Vance made that clear on the debate stage when he wouldn't answer Tim Walz's question.
Who's for voter ID?
Here you go.
Well, I'm just curious. Because that
not, there is no
voting integrity.
So this is a distraction from talking about.
No, you said threat to democracy.
Well, so there is no voter fraud. That's the thing.
How do you know?
Well, because there aren't cases of it. It gets investigated, and when there is, it's Republicans. Okay. The narrative is that Democrats are obsessed with January 6th. But the reality is that Donald Trump is the one who's obsessed with 2020. Even today, he was on stage in Michigan saying, I won, and I won by an even bigger margin than 2016. Maybe he should be quiet about it.
My brother says, unless you was under a rock, we all know what happened. We don't got to talk about it. Everybody knows what happened. 81 million votes. A cheap fake, a deep fake. A vegetable, incompetent. Not a campaign event. But we got your mail in, though. We got your mail in. Yeah, we sure got your mail in. Oh, 3 o'clock at night. 3 o'clock at night. 4 o'clock in the morning. Hit the switch. But now it's a cheap fake, a deep fake.
But he can't stop himself, which puts it into the national discourse. There is new information in this filing, 165 pages. There has to be something new. We know for sure now that Donald Trump knew he lost, even though Jesse says he didn't know. And we know because he told his kids on Marine One, it doesn't matter if you won or lost, you have to fight like hell. We knew he didn't care if Mike Pence lived or died. Now we know that he said, so what? And that there were 71 threats against Mike Pence. So bad that Mark Short had to go to the...
You need cross-examination. No. It's not true unless it's tested.
Mark Short went to the Secret Service to say that he was scared for his life. You have anecdotes.
But all those things are not... No. I knew all that.
Yeah.
You knew that he said, so what? And you knew
it's
about
within the spirit of
Detroit-
everything that
Get her
has
off
been
the
written
show.
and said about
Did
this
you know
before.
about Ronna McDaniel going to the election official in Michigan?
She's like, can we all just get her off the show? Everybody's just like, can y'all call security? Can we please, everybody, get her off the show?
Who said that's effing nuts? What he's
It
asking
is
us
in
to
keeping
do?
with everything else I know about it and everything else that she said. Jesse, go ahead.
Wanda the Stuffer.
Yeah, they're like, please, let's move on. I'm telling you, Jessica, go on, sit on there with them ladies on the spew, MSNBC, MCNCDC, ABC, CBS, all the alphabetical order. Go on, sit on them, the woke media.
By the way, is a Democrat.
Wanda?
What? You don't watch
Wanda.
Jesse Waters primetime?
How dare you?
I have children.
Well, they can watch. It's PG-13, Jessica. So the Supreme Court comes down with this ruling that presidents have full immunity when they're conducting official acts. Phone calls,
This was
talking to
unofficial.
people in
Not yet.
departments.
Fake electors.
It hasn't been determined.
No, what
Amy
they're
Coney
saying,
Barrett
Jessica,
said
is
it.
like if Donald Trump goes out to the golf course as president and sees the cart girl look at him funny and smacks her teeth out with a 5-iron, that is not an official act. That is an act as a private citizen. So what this guy, Jack Smith, does, he gets the ruling. He basically takes out every time it says President Trump, he crosses it off, and then he writes Private Citizen Trump, and he leaves the whole thing the same. So he's saying that from the election until January 6th, he wasn't President Trump. He was Private Citizen Trump. And how does he prove that? Well, I read this motion, and he says, this is why, Jessica. When he went on to give his speech on January 6th, they didn't play Hail to the Chief. They played the Village People. They played YMCA, so that means he's not president during that speech.
Yep.
Why did he use,
It's not a serious
You know
motion.
what? That's something I didn't know. There you go. I didn't know that.
Why did he use private lawyers instead of his White House counsel if it wasn't private?
I don't know why he did
Everybody
what. I
likes
know you guys
additional
are
legal
desperate.
advice.
And
Did you ever
first,
get a second opinion?
you put a $150,000 bounty in a public filing last week, and now this. It's prejudicial.
For Wanda
and
the
you should be
Stuffer?
ashamed
At
of
the
yourself.
very least.
And also, why does it matter if he says whether you win or lose, fight like hell? That's great advice. That you go down swinging. They always take the words literally. Like when he said he had to find votes, they say, "Oh, he's making up votes." No, he said there's votes out there. You got to find them. And if you're fighting, you fight like hell, whether you win or you lose. That's just the way it is.
No, because you lost, so you can see it and act like a normal
No, you
human.
fight until it's over.
Is it that simple?
He doesn't think it's over
You guys
today.
did it. Hillary
really
fought
think
like
it's that
hell.
He thinks he won.
That's
I am
why we
having
loved
a
Hillary.
great time, but I'm going to tease. Up next.
Click here.
You just can't make it up, man. You just can't make it up. You know, the show of conflict, the show of interest. You know, always keep things spicy on Fox, man. You know, you just can't make it up. With that old talking point, J6. You know, that's their only talking point. They see that she's tanking in polls. They see that, you know, especially after that debate, that VP debate, and seeing that her base loved JD Vance and that she is dropping it like it's hot. The only thing that they could talk about and run on still is January 6th, as you can see. And when you ask most voters, they don't care. They do not care. You do not care. We're focused on policy right now. We're focused on the failed policy. We're focused on the failed administration that is in office right now. While they put we the people last. That's what we care about, man. But they take little small clips, they spin things, they bash the man because he wants to put America first, because he wants to put we the people first. It's crap, man. Can't make it up. Let me know what y'all think, man. Comment down below. I love y'all, and I will catch you beautiful people in the next one, man. Peace and love, y'all.